right? And you're trying to figure out how to take best advantage of the break. It's a question that we get all of the time. But I know for some of us, you're starting to see folks graduating, you're starting to realize that, hey, I may not have taken best advantage of the semester as I should have, and my dissertation is not where it should be. But now I have this big break going on, and what should I do? And if that's a question you've been wondering about, you definitely want to watch this episode of From ABD to PhD show, as I'm going to talk about the one mistake to avoid during your semester break that will ensure you come back the following semester with a dissertation that will get you to your proposal or final dissertation defense. And with that, I want to say thank you all so much for tuning in from ABD to PhD. I'm your host, Dr. Ramon Goings, founder of Done Dissertation, where we demystify the dissertation process so that doctoral students can write and defend their dissertation in 1 year or less. In this particular episode of From ABD to PhD is sponsored by our upcoming workshop called Design Your Done Dissertation. You definitely do not want to miss this 5-hour virtual event happening on this Sunday, April the 23rd. We're going to spend 5 hours together to really think through and map out your dissertation completion plan so that you hit the upcoming semester ready to go and ready to have a plan in place so that your chair knows like you're serious and you have all the things ready in order to defend your proposal or final dissertation. To learn more about the event, you can go to www.designyourdissertation.com, or you can scan the QR code if you're watching this on YouTube, LinkedIn, or Facebook. You just scan the QR code with your cell phone and you can join us for the complimentary workshop. You definitely do not want to miss out on this. We already have, I think, about close to 100 folks registered so far, and we want to make sure we help and support more people to get their dissertations done. So definitely grab your seat and then make sure you pass this along to a colleague and someone else in your doctoral program as well, because I know that, doctoral students, we travel together in packs. So make sure that you give your folks the information they need as well in order to finish this dissertation process. And again, today's episode, I really want to talk about this one big mistake, and I'm actually going to add a bonus mistake as well. I think these two are interrelated, but I want to talk about these two in particular things that really will, if you can avoid these, really help you take advantage of the semester break. But before we get into the material, as always, if you're watching this live or if you're watching this on the replay, let me know in the comments who you are, where you're coming from, and where you are a doctoral student. And shout out to folks who have been tuning in so far. Shout out to my guy, Dr. Ron Miller, is alum of Done Dissertation. Shout out to you. I hope all is well with you and the family. So let me know where you are coming from, who you are, and where you are in your doctoral journey. That would be really helpful as we think through and get some support to finish up this process. And I'm ready. I'm looking forward to this because, a lot of us go into our dissertation process with all these grand plans, and then life strikes, and we're trying to figure out how do we take advantage of these opportunities in these pockets of time. Because what a lot of you all probably realize is that as you are going through the doctoral journey, what seems like you have a lot of time actually starts to dwindle away because other things start to encroach on what you have going on. And so what I see when folks enter the semester break, we have this idea like, look, I may have 2 months, a month to 3 months of like uninterrupted time, no classes, faculty might not be around. I have time to get this thing done. And sometimes with all that time, we're not considering what we can do to finish this process quicker. And in particular, because of this break between semesters, it often seems like it's a time to just chill and relax. And there's one mistake that I see a lot of doctoral students doing that you want to avoid. And so with that, I want to get into the material. Shout out to you, Dr. Miller, for dropping in. And for folks who are tuning in other places, make sure you drop your comments in. I'll be sure to bring them up as folks chime in. But what I see as the one mistake to avoid as you're entering the semester break is the mentality of, I will do it tomorrow. Here's why. And what I would say is that when you say, I'll do it tomorrow, I would say another word of how to think through that is procrastination. That is the one mistake you have to avoid as you're getting through this doctoral journey. Because what ends up happening is that when you start to say, I'll do it tomorrow, and then tomorrow comes, and then tomorrow turns into the next day, and then the next day turns into the next week, a week turns into a month, and before you look up, you're back in the semester and you got nothing accomplished because you just procrastinate for a number of reasons. And look, I know in this particular case, when this is being aired live in terms of we're coming up on the summer months, I know for many of us, it's like, look, it's about to be summer vacation mode. I'm about to go just, have a ball this summer, out with friends, out doing whatever I need to do. But you have to remember this dissertation, and I know for a lot of us, it's just like looming over our head. It's kind of like this thing in the back of our mind that even when we're on vacation, we're like thinking about this thing because we just know it's still some things we have to do with the dissertation. And you just have to be mindful of it. But when we're thinking about procrastination, you have to avoid it, because what I want you all to do is when you come back to classes or you come back to your advisor in the fall semester, I want you to have a document that is ready to go. So if you are at the proposal phase and you're just like starting a proposal right now, the goal is to be over the summer is to actually write your proposal and have a document ready for your chair so that when they come back in August, September, you have a full proposal ready for them to go so that you can defend sometime in the fall semester. And for my folks who are past data collection, your goal is to write up your findings over the summer and have a completed dissertation done so that you could be defending sometime in the early fall at the latest. Sometimes things happens what it delays our timing, but you have to have this mindset that you're going to get stuff done over the break, because procrastination is such a evil thing that really impacts how you approach the dissertation process. And for a lot of us, we allow procrastination to be our crutch because we don't want to do the hard work. And not only just because you may be afraid of the writing, but it's not even about the writing sometimes. It's about our thoughts about what is our faculty member, what are they going to say about our writing, and how are they going to take it, and what is that going to do to us, because we are sensitive about our writing and we want to make sure that it's done right the first time. If that's you, let me know. If you've always wanted your writing done the first time, just let me know in the comments. You are not alone. We all want it to happen, but it's just not the reality. And what I want you all to start thinking about is that, if you're thinking about the drivers of why you might procrastinate, I'm going to give you some other things to consider. Is a lot of us, what we'll do is that when it's time to write, at this point, you know that you've read enough, you understand the literature. But a lot of us, what we will do is when it's time to actually sit down and engage in the process of writing, we will do everything else. And most often for doc students, what you will do first is do a bunch of reading. And, reading is important, right? But that should be a separate session than your writing session. But I know many of us, when we get into the mode and mentality, what we will do and sit down and do is like, look, I'm here to write, but let me read that article. And then you start reading that article and you're like, oh, that's a great idea. And then you start looking at the reference list. And then you go, oh, let me find that reference. That might be helpful when I start to actually write. And then you go down this rabbit hole. And next, you're in Google Scholar doing cited by, and you're clicking on cited by, and then you don't even know where you originally started from. Like, I know it because I've been there. It's easy to go down what I call the literature black hole, if you will. And you just keep going, chasing the next thing. Instead of what you should be doing is actually sitting in front of the computer and writing. That's a form of procrastination. We let reading sometimes take us away from the writing because, again, you have to read and be informed about your literature, but then at some point you have to turn over from reading to writing and you have to engage in that process. For some of us, what the procrastination looks like is because you haven't necessarily found your ideal time to write. So for some of us, it might be, deciding like, because other people have said it, that I'm just going to write during the morning because other people write during the morning, when you realize that you actually might be a night owl. And maybe writing from midnight to 2 a.m. might be the best time for you to write because the house is quiet and all those things. So you have to consider and find your flow in terms of the writing process. And Aston's mama says, yes, so true. Yeah, it just is what it is. These things happen. And shout out to, I think it's Sadi. Assad, I'm sorry, from Cincinnati, Ohio, Miami University. Perfect. And you just started your doc program, but trying to learn as much as possible early. Definitely, Assad, definitely go to our YouTube channel. We have tons of content related to the dissertation process, and also have a book called 14 Secrets to a Done Dissertation. You can get it on our website at thedonedissertation.com. You can learn more and grab a copy of the book, and that'll be super helpful as you're just starting out your program. But these are things we have to start considering. Finding their ideal writing time. So it might not be you're apprehensive about writing. It's just you might not have found the right time yet. But because of that, you start to procrastinate. Some of us say, you know what, I'm going to have writing days, like a day to write. And I'm going to have all day. In this form, what I call binge writing, works for some people. So I can't say it does not work. It does work for people. There are plenty of folks who have written their dissertations by binge writing. And what I mean by binge writing is writing, 1 day a week, 2 days a week. But for many folks who just don't have the time, that might be unrealistic. And then what ends up happening and why it becomes a form of procrastination is like, I'll think about that on Saturday when I go to write. And then when you sit down to go to write Saturday, you're like, don't remember all the thoughts you had. You're trying to refresh your memory. And then the worst part is that you sit down to write and then you go back and reread everything from last Saturday's writing session. Now you spent 45 minutes rereading and reworking last week's stuff. So now when you come to sit down for this week, now you're burnt out because of all that stuff that you previously edited. And then you start having these negative thoughts about writing. And it happens, right? This procrastination really like overtakes you in this process. And it happens during the semester breaks in particular because there's no structure, there's no accountability around your time. Whereas, if you're in coursework or all those things, you might have a structure, or even you have a chair, who's waiting for you to send them something at least once a month, let's say, for instance. You at least know there's some structure about how you need to move through the process. And for some of y'all, you take these semester breaks and you're like, shoot, it's a break. I'm not doing anything. And before you know it, time has passed and you're back in it in the next semester and have nothing accomplished. And we don't want to see that happen. And then what I see, which is actually really important, is, and this is one of the bonuses in terms of the mistakes that you need to avoid, is one of these mistakes that I really want y'all to think about is that you don't have a structured plan in place. This is really important because here's what I know. Not having a plan will be the difference between you not finishing and you finishing. I know it because we see it with our clients all the time. And for a lot of students, you just don't have a plan or a way to work and get this through. And this is exactly why we're doing our workshop called Design Your Done Dissertation, because we just know that there are a lot of folks who are trying to navigate the dissertation process, but don't have a structure or even a strategy to approach it besides like, I'm just going to write a little bit and send it to my chair. That is important. Those are things you have to do, but you have to, engage in this process in a way that you are able to build community and able to work with your chair and committee in order to get things done. But a lot of us don't have that plan in place, and it's really, really important. And that's why we created this Design Your Done Dissertation event. We want to give you all a format and a structure in order to navigate this process and really start thinking forwardly about it so that you're not waiting to the last minute to get things done, that you actually had a roadmap to get things done quicker. That is how our clients are finishing. That's how clients, when people come to work with us, like, how are you all getting folks through the proposal or the final dissertation in 4 months? We're doing it because we're helping them give them strategies in order to move things forward. And if for folks who might be on our current clients, you can think about last night's call. Like, think about what we were talking about with even just IRB and how to stay ahead and get ahead of that process. Like, those are the things that our clients are able to do because they have the strategy and they have a support structure in order to get through. And that's something we want to teach you all at our upcoming event called Design Your Done Dissertation, happening on Sunday, April 23rd from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. To learn more about the event and grab your complimentary ticket and seat, go to www.designyourdissertation.com. And again, it's www.designyourdissertation.com. So I'm going back through the comments real quick before I talk a bit more about not having a plan and the impact of that. But shout out to Ricky. Congratulations to Ricky. Ricky is actually a client of ours in Done Dissertation who just recently submitted chapter 1 and is working on chapter 2. Shout out to you, Ricky. Congratulations. And I see we have, let's see, Aston's mama says, finding a writing time is crucial as a mom in the PhD program. Thanks, Dr. Goins. Yes, that is really important, finding your time. I have a 4-year-old, so I knew 2 years ago when I was writing for tenure and promotion and doing those things, during the day wasn't necessarily the best time, but then I had to figure out how to write at night. Even though when I wrote my dissertation, I was actually a morning writer. So sometimes you just got to find where you can make it work during the process. And shout out to Dr. Miller. He says, all I can say is the program works. Believe it. Shout out to you, Dr. Miller. Congratulations, man. We're super proud of you. And so if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. I'll be sure to take them at the end. But what I want to talk about is that while the one mistake to avoid during the semester break is procrastination, right? We don't want to do that with this process. The second thing in the bonus I would give you all is that not having a plan is a mistake. That especially during the semester breaks, you don't want to go into those times without having a plan in place. And with that, I'm always about giving folks strategy and insight. And I want to give you all a couple things that you can do to think about as you are thinking about how do I think through my plan. First things first is that you definitely need to get some communication going with your chair. The chair, as you all realize already, is the quarterback to this process. And so if you don't have a working relationship with your chair, your dissertation is not going very far. So you want to go ahead and establish those relationships early and often, so that, going into the semester break, you all have a plan and have talked about it. And that's something you definitely need to do. We're going to talk more about that at Design Your Done Dissertation, about what to say and how to approach that relationship with your chair. But that is the first thing about having your plan has to revolve around your chair, because you, again, want to set up the stage about what's going to happen when you come back in the fall semester. The second thing, especially if your dot program does not meet during the summer months. I know some of you are in dot programs that have continuous, like you have continuous access to your professors, but not all programs are built like that. Also, another piece is that you got to start thinking about in your plan, like building out your writing. Like, when are things going to get done? What are the components of each chapter that I need to write? Like, how do I assign due dates to them? What does that structure look like? Literally, at Design Your Done Dissertation, this is what we're going to be talking about, like how to build out the plan, and actually leaving with the workbook that we have so that you can have a document where you have your plan put in place. So, because we know this is very important for you all to finish. So you definitely want to have these components. And a lot of times we think and say we're going to write chapter one, but what does that really look like? And I know for one of our clients, Ricky, who just talked about, finishing chapter one, he was writing a piece of it each and every day. And before you know it, that chapter is done. But you got to know what the pieces are and how to put it all together and assign due dates to them. And so we're going to talk about how to put that plan in place. And then lastly, at Design Your Done Dissertation, we're also going to talk about the planning, about accountability structure. It's not just enough, again, to say, I'm going to do something, but who are you accountable to? A lot of us need accountability, and it's important for us to finish this process. Some need more accountability than others. So some of us are more driven or self-starters than others, which is cool. We all approach this process very differently, but you want to be mindful of this and really start thinking through right now how you're going to approach your work. And having a plan is critical in order to doing so. But a lot of us don't think about the plan until we've been a month, 3 months, 2 years behind the process and wondering, well, why haven't I gotten to where I want to go? And I always ask, well, what was your plan? And a lot of times it was, I didn't have one, or the plan was just something that you couldn't implement because you just didn't know enough about the components of it. And so with that, when we're thinking about the semester break, make sure that you avoid procrastinating on y'all's project. Like, look, our goal, I'm doing these live videos for free for you all because we want you all to have the information to finish. But again, people who work with us are executors. So in order to get through this process, you have to be an executor. So it's not just enough to get the information. I want you all to take the information and apply it to your journey. And this is why we're hosting this workshop on Sunday at Design Your Done Dissertation, because we want to help you all get the strategy, get the insight in order to speed up the process. Again, this is going to be really important. So once you figure out get ahead of your procrastination and know that you're going to accomplish something during the semester break, then you have to have a plan in place. Again, it's not just enough just to sitting down and writing, but it's like, when does your chair want your document? Do they want it all in one chapter? Do they, want chapter by chapter? Do they want it all together? For my folks who are past, proposal defense, like, what does it look like? Do they want you to write your whole entire findings chapter and then submit it? Or do they want a piece of it so they can see how you're thinking about writing it and then allow you to write the rest? These are things that you got to have conversations about. And this is going to be all part of your Done Dissertation completion plan and blueprint we're going to talk about at Design Your Done Dissertation happening on Sunday. But with that, this is going to be a quick episode because I want to talk about the one mistake that I see folks making. So procrastination, we don't want that as we go into the break. This is how you speed things up, is if you do not procrastinate. And that's how our clients are able to be very successful in this process, because they have recognized that procrastination is evil to this process. And they know that once they finish this dissertation, they never have to go back and look at it again. So this is the opportunity to take to really focus and get and put the work in to finish your dissertation. So again, make sure that you grab your ticket at www.designyourdissertation.com. During the workshop, we're going to talk all about the mindset to complete your dissertation. We are also going to talk about how to build out your plan. And then we're going to talk about all the components of the plan, how to work with your chair, committee, your accountability structure. All these things we're going to map out for you. And then we're going to actually have some opportunity with myself and Dr. Varela, who is a coach, or Dr. Patricia Varela, who's a coach for Done Dissertation. We're going to do some live coaching with you all to talk about things that are specifically related to your dissertation journey and questions that you might have. So you definitely want to come on for that. And then lastly, you're going to be able to hear from a few of our current and former clients about how they have actually implemented their plans and what are some of the things they had to overcome as they were implementing the plan as well. Because we at Done Dissertation, we are not about to like sugarcoat anything. So I never will tell you all that things will just go and just smoothly go. It just doesn't always happen like that. There are always, barriers to the process, but where it's a value of working with us is that we help you learn how to move around the barriers and how to jump over them when these things do come up, because barriers are going to happen. Things are going to not go according to how you thought in your mind, and you just have to be ready for them. And so this is something that, we're going to talk with our current and former clients about how they've managed it, because they all are doc students. They have lives, they have children, families, etc. and the things that may keep you from getting your dissertation done, they have figured out and how to move their process forward. So I want you to hear from them, people who have implemented the strategies on how they've done it. And so with that, I want to hope you all will join on Sunday, April 23rd from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern time. The ticket is complimentary, and there will be no replay. So join us live. This is something you can jump in and out of if you need to, but you definitely want to be in the room live. And then if you find like, hey, I love what you all are talking about and you want to learn more about working with us, there'll be opportunity and we'll give you more information if you want to work with us as well. But again, we want to see you all at the event. And I'm looking forward to interacting with you all. I know a number of you all I got a chance to meet during presentations and just walking around for the American Education Research Association conference. So I'm looking forward to seeing you all at the event. And then again, we want to build with folks, and we want you all to make sure that you're going into the semester break with a plan in place so that you can finish. There's no need to come back the following semester in the same place you are right now. And especially if this is where you have been all of 2023 so far. So if you started in January and right now near the end of April, you're still in the same spot you were in January, you got to do something different. Come to the workshop, learn more, and start getting in that environment where you can start thinking about and envisioning yourself actually finishing the dissertation process. And so with that, I look forward to seeing you all on Sunday. We won't have a live this coming up week. But again, you all have so much material that we've presented with you all. Like, definitely go back to our YouTube channel. If you haven't already subscribed, go to YouTube and then type in Done Dissertation. You will see all of our material. We have things around the literature review, working with your committee, all of these things that are great, valuable resources to you that you can definitely use in your journey. And most certainly, grab your ticket to Design Your Done Dissertation, happening on April 23rd from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern time. You can grab your ticket at designyourdonedissertation.com. If you're watching on YouTube, LinkedIn, or Facebook, you can literally pause the video, or just right now, since it's up, you can just scan the QR code with your phone. It'll take you right to the site to grab your complimentary ticket. Make sure you grab and send it to your other classmates, people in your program. Don't be stingy with it. Folks need help, and we all want to get through this process. And again, I'm trying to see you all finish these doctoral programs, because it was great to see some of our own clients at Done Dissertation at our conference recently who have finished. Shout out to Dr. McIntosh. We got a chance to see each other during our conference, and so proud of what she's been able to do as a graduate. She graduated with us in 2022. There's so many opportunities waiting for you all, and sometimes just not having a plan to finish is what's holding you back. So why not come and get the information that you need in order to get through? So make sure you go to www.designyourdissertation.com to grab your seat at Design Your Done Dissertation. Please make sure that you avoid procrastinating during this semester break. And most definitely make sure you have some form of a plan to get through the process. And if you have any questions, as always, please let me know in the comments. I will stay on for a couple minutes to take any questions. But if not, I definitely will catch you all next week. I'm just going through seeing what I have here. Shout out to everybody on Instagram. Shout out to Assad. Definitely catch up with me. Assad, shoot me a DM as well. Aston's mama, thank you for dropping in. Cool. Are you currently writing your dissertation, or Aston's mama, are you a doc student just taking classes? Love to hear where you are in the process. But any questions that folks might have. And shout out to my folks at Done Dissertation in the Velocity Group Coaching Program who are tuning in as well. This definitely message goes out for y'all. Y'all know the drill. We're trying to get these things done, and you all seeing y'all's progress week by week about how fast you can move things on. Oh, Adriana, what's going on? Cool. That's good for you. Good to see you. And make sure you schedule your time. Make sure you check your email and schedule your time. Adriana is one of my doc students and one of my advisees at UMBC. So shout out to you for dropping in. You're ahead of the game as a first-year student. A lot of these things definitely will apply in terms of having a plan. I think for you and for just doc students just starting out, having a plan is so important, and even for coursework, because before you know it, those course papers are due, and then you're like, shoot, I only got 2 or 3 days to do them, and I did not have a plan in place in order to figure it all out. So it's really important. So getting into this mindset now about having plans in place for your work, knowing all the things that are going on in life for most of us as doc students, is something that you want to start putting a structure around now, so that when you get to your dissertation and there's not the structure of a course, it makes things a lot easier to finish up. But are there any questions? All right, good people. Well, I hope you all have a great evening. I will see some of you all at Design Your Done Dissertation on Sunday. And make sure that you all hit the semester break with a plan. Make sure that you all don't let anything stop you from getting to where you want to go. And make sure that we have great work that you're all going to submit to your chairs and folks when you come back from the semester break. And I look forward to seeing you all on the next time on From ABD to PhD. I'm Dr. Goings, founder of Done Dissertation, where we demystify the dissertation process so that doctoral students can write and defend a dissertation in 1 year or less. And I look forward to seeing you all next time on the episode of From ABD